Hey everybody, thank you for checking out the channel Rancho Santos. Today is going to be a little bit different. We're just going to be pretty much talking about what Rancho Imperio is and how it became to be something. So I'll kind of just give you like a little bit of background on us. So Rancho Imperio is an actual business entity that was registered in the states, in the United States of America. So it's a legit business. And then we also have some of our business down in Mexico, which is where my parents were born, in Oaxaca, And the reason I started that business is because, so when I was down in Oaxaca, that's pretty much all it was when I was a kid, My father, which in all reality is my grandpa, and my mother, which is my grandma. So if you ever hear me say mom or dad, it's because my grandparents raised me, So those are the ones that I truly give respect to and mean the world to me, as far as parents go. I love my mother, my biological mother as well, but it's a different kind of love. I love her in her own way, But at the end of the day, the people that I grew up with as a little kid, the ones that were there when it mattered the most, was my grandparents, and I have to thank my mother herself for that too, because she's the reason why I was in Mexico, But anyways, back to what I was saying. So when I grew up down in Mexico, my father would always be in the fields, and not in the fields like you see in America where you're picking and doing stuff, blackberries or blueberries, whatever you might have. It was more like the campo. The campo is essentially an open field where you take your animals or you go just cultivate stuff. So my father was always in the campo. And I never really got to go with him at a really, really young age because I was 3 when I stayed in Mexico. And so when I was down there, that's all my dad would do. It would be like at 4 a.m. in the morning, down there time, down in Oaxaca time, which typically, like when it's the time is right, it's about 2 hour difference from here to Mexico, at least where I'm from. So that's equivalent to about being 2 in the morning here. The rooster wouldn't even sing, and my father would already be hard at work, And I admired him for that, And then eventually, I got the opportunity as I got older to venture with him on those adventures, and that's where he taught me a lot of the stuff that he knows, we would have at first, the first thing that I started learning how to do was taking care of animals, because that's what my father always educated me as far as the education he can give me. He would tell me like, hey, look, when you're older, and if you don't want to go to school, or if something happens, the best investment you can make is buying animals or buying land, because working for someone is not the best idea. You might have to at first, but once you get your feet underneath you, you should definitely invest into animals and into land, And he said, that's what my father taught me, and so I'm gonna teach you, And I took that to heart, But I was only a little kid, So my idea was just like, man, my dad has some cool animals, He has some cows, he has some big cows, and I gotta hang out with him and eat lunch with him in the campo, just hang out. It was super fun, It was a heck of a field trip. I loved it every time I would go with him, And so here's where the story gets a little bit hard for me to tell, because it comes from a lot of pain, simply because it was a dramatic change. All right, guys. Well, that's part 1 of a series that I'm gonna be uploading. Decided to do this because I also wanted to tell kind of like how I started, you know what I mean, and kind of give you guys an insight of who I am and how I was built, and how all that kind of leaded to me building a rancho. So if you could just stay tuned. Check out the following videos that are soon to drop.